¿Qué tal, amigos? Estamos de vuelta con los playoffs de la LEC. Estamos aquí con Alphari, uno de los destacados de la victoria de hoy de Vitality contra Excel, que después de este 3-2 pasan a una nueva fase del lower bracket. Alphari, first of all, thank you very much for your time, for your kindness, and congrats for the win because you're making a new step into the lower bracket. How does it feel?
Honestly, it doesn't feel super great because, I mean, it's Excel. It's not like, I have no disrespect towards them, right?
Mhm.
But we are only 5th place now, so it's really good we won, but it's not really good that it went to 5 games. So, it's just another game. We should be aiming for more, but it's good we won.
Tell me a little bit about your feelings after the whole series, because it didn't start the way you expected with that 1-0. You even were against the wall with a 2-1, like it was like 2 match balls for you, but you managed to turn your series into your favor. How was it, and how was the plan changing between games to make it possible?
I think that we just, I think that our drafts were not super great, honestly. And I think that was actually the main thing. Not necessarily like all on draft, but I think that when we had things that we were comfortable with, or when we realized how they had to win, then it was like the last 2 games were pretty easy, honestly. And I wasn't stressed out ever during the series, really. I don't think anybody else was. So, I was surprised that we were 1-2. That wasn't like what I was expecting to be in a situation against Excel. I don't think their players are like bad. I think their players are actually like good, but I don't think that they are a strong team when it comes to playing mid game.
Mhm.
And I think that they are predictable. So for these reasons, it would be quite shameful, I think, to lose to them. Like again, like I think they're a fine team, right? That's just for me personally. So I don't know. We just changed draft a little bit and we won, so that was good.
Did Excel do something you were not expected they to do, or was that Vitality not performing as expected? What do you think about that?
I mean, they definitely were more aggressive early game top side than I would think they would play. Normally throughout regular season, I think they've been having a lot of emphasis on bot lane, but I think throughout this whole series it was gank top instead. So that was a little bit unexpected. Also, like Mickey roaming top lane, like in game 3, when I got like 3-man dove in between towers, it was actually a really huge play. I didn't think it was. We didn't expect it, but it really swung the early game because they were kind of doomed if this didn't happen, and then we were behind actually. So they were more proactive than I thought they would be, and especially in regards to making plays with Marcoon, Finn, and Mickey topside. But otherwise, I think mid game they played the same. I think that the drafts were pretty predictable too, so just like a little bit more aggressive.
As I said before, you had a game plan on your hands on the first game. It didn't went the way you expected, but slowly but surely, along the games were happening, you were put into, or I do believe you were put into a more priority role on the team. Do you think that was one of the key factors to turn the series back into your favor?
So in game 1, we had a comp that was really reliant on actually getting ahead early game, and then we misplayed like level 4 when we should have won it at top 2v2, I feel like. And actually, the game is kind of hard from there on because I think they also had a core key, right? So
Yep.
I might be wrong, but I think they like were scaling really good, and we were like not in a position that we should be early game. So we just made the draft simpler, that we don't need to have a win condition early game. We can just win through playing the game mid-late game, which I think this is our main thing. And then game 3, the one we lost as well. I think that actually we should have won this game. But we made like small errors again, like a little bit early game, and I think we could have just drafted a little bit more. But yeah, otherwise just this.
Despite the win, you are talking about a lot to improve. What's the point do you believe that Vitality needs to improve the most facing into the next series?
I think that early game is going to be the most important versus G2. Honestly, I think that mid game, late game, we are okay. I don't think we are perfect, but I think that we were certainly better than Excel, and I think that G2's strong point is not also mid or late game. I think it's the early game, specifically around being proactive around top. I think much more extreme than Excel. So I think that we will have some emphasis on this. We will also have to play good early game, I think. And yeah, this will be the main thing, I think, when it comes to beating G2.
Mm-hmm. You talk about G2 on the next series. I remember an interview from last week, I think, from Brokerblade, the top laner, and he talked about precisely about Finn, about he is one of the few top laners he enjoyed to play the laning phase because of being fun. What do you think of Broken Blade on the next series, and what's the difference between playing laning phase, comparing Finn and Broken Blade? What do you think is going to be the difference between one series into the other one?
I mean, I think that actually Broken Blade is just much better than Finn. I think that Finn is he's okay, but I don't think he's like. I mean, I think he's getting better each year, but I still don't think that he is actually like particularly interesting or good laner. Whereas Broken Blade, I actually do think he is this. I think that he plays for counter picks and actually plays counter picks well. And I think that I think he's just actually good lane, to be honest. I think Broken Blade is like one of the better laners in Europe, if not the hardest competition, but it's also G2 as a whole top side. And my personal opinion of Excel would be that probably that top side is maybe the weakest. So yeah, I don't know. It's like weakest top side in the playoffs versus strongest top side in playoffs, potentially. This is like all these like playing against it, right? Yep. From a top lane perspective. I think that all the players are good. I think that Finn is not bad. I think that Markun is not bad, etc. Blah blah blah. But yeah, I think Broken Blade is fun to play against. I don't feel anything about playing against Finn.
How do you think about the next series about G2 is going to be overall? What do you think you guys will need to be or paying attention, especially on that series, to being able to put that series into your favor?
I mean, yeah, I think it's the same as what I said. I think it's very largely going to come down to early game, and I think that G2 are predictable. Mm-hmm. Doesn't mean that it's easy to stop their plays. Like I said, I think they play for counter picks top a lot. I think Broken Blade's a good laner. I think Jankos and Caps are really, no one to disrespect. I think they are better mid game than Excel too. So yeah, I think it's going to come down to shutting down the early game plays and just being better at team fighting.
Mm-hmm. Despite that, still room to improve from Vitality. You guys finally made it into the playoffs. Until the last day on regular season, it was not clear. You guys were about to do it. You guys finally made it. You won on your first series. You have talked about that you still have a lot room to improve, but what has improved Vitality, especially from regular season on the last weeks on regular season into the first phase, into the first series on the playoffs?
I think that we are more consistent mid-game, at least, and we play to be more patient. Whereas before, I think we lost quite a few games because we would not listen to each other or like lose sight of the win condition and throw a game that realistically should not be throwable. And I don't think that this is a concern for us anymore. I think that we also narrowed down a bit more how we actually want to play in terms of play style, champion picks. I think that we have a clearer... I guess I don't think it's 100% clear yet, but I think that we are like approaching more like the perfect way for us to play, and we are more aware of our strengths and weaknesses. And yeah, I think that as well we are more willing to be selfless early game. Mm-hmm. So, and like play certain champions or play certain styles that perhaps during regular season we either didn't have the motivation to play or the trust or the whatever. We just weren't capable of doing it, maybe the mindset. But now I think that we are, a little bit broader in how we approach the game. I think that we have narrowed down what our strengths and weaknesses are, and I think that we have more discipline mid-late.
Mm-hmm. Okay, and last question for me. Despite you guys made it into the playoffs and now you are at least top 5 into the playoffs, let's see what happens on the next series. I'm pretty sure that everybody, both you and the audience, expected a lot from that Vitality roster because of the big announcements, big names. And what do you think that needs to this Vitality roster to make that click, to make it possible to face the top teams, which is, I mean, the spot that Vitality wants to be?
I mean, so I don't think we are a great team right now, but I also don't think we are far away from it. Honestly, I think that it really comes down to ourselves having good ideas or preparation, which, I mean, is huge. Like any team, this matters a lot, right? But I think that we are capable of actually executing and winning when we have this. And I think that maintaining trust and, I don't know, having like the right mentality on the day is also key for us. I don't know how it is for other teams. I mean, it usually is important for every other team, right? But I think it's more important for us. So yeah, I think we can beat any team. I think we can also lose 20 team, to be honest. I don't know. We went 5 games against Excel. We had a rough regular season, of course. I think we are making the right steps towards improving. I think that we have the individual skill, and I think that we also have actually the individual brain power to win against every team. It's just sometimes we hold ourselves back. And I mean, I also think that competition is not weak right now in Europe. I have a lot of respect for Fnatic and G2 especially. So yeah, I'm just enjoying playing and seeing how we can do.
Okay, Alphari, so that's everything from me. Thank you very much for your time, for your kindness again. Congrats for the win and best of luck on the next series. See you then.
Thank you.
Y a vosotros ya sabéis, chicos, si os ha gustado la entrevista, le dais un buen sub, le dais un buen like y nos vemos en la siguiente. Hasta luego.